So we're going to go ahead and install this rear derailleur. I'm going to use my 5mm tool. In this case, it's my 3-way or tri-tool. 5mm tool, and I'm going to stick it right where the installation screw is, where it's going to directly bolt onto the frame, which is usually your derailleur hanger. And then you can apply some grease. You can use your finger, use a brush. So it's just a little easier with the tool. I can kind of turn the bolt and grease around it. So the main thing here, so a derailleur hanger, whether it's a bolt-on derailleur hanger or it's all part of the frame, if you have a steel frame or a titanium, you got a little edge right here, little cliff or whatever you want to call it, a little dog ear. That's where your typically a B screw would rest, but on these newer style, like 1x with the clutch style derailleurs, it's got a free floating kind of a hinge here. And then there's a metal notch right underneath it. There's actually 2 of them, so make sure you get the right one. Let's see, in this case, so the B screw still functions the same way. It's actually hitting here, B screw here, hitting against there. So this is kind of acting like your extension of your derailleur hanger. And then you're just going to bolt on like that. So you might have to cock back a little bit, start screwing in, then it's going to rest down, sit on that little edge. So I removed the rear wheel so you can see better. You're on the left side of the bike, looking over at your right. This is your right. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my tool in here, get the tool started there. And then, so the notching, looks like, I believe we got a notch on the lower part. Body of the derailleur is facing over on towards the right. And I'm going to start threading in, and just be very careful when you're threading. Do not want to cross thread, but this should go in pretty easy. So there's the first notch. You could probably accidentally bring it over here and screw in between those 2 notches, which I just did right now. I'm going to see what else it does. Let's see here. So if you do that, so the derailleur is actually a little too close to the frame. My front pulley wheel is way too close to the chainstay right here. Actually hitting, so that's going to be your first sign. It's actually stuck right there, and then it hits the frame, so not much movement. That's when you actually fit between the 2 notches. So just go ahead and back out, and hopefully you didn't tighten down too tight. So just unscrew a little bit. I'm going to go upward. We want that first notch where my finger is to land on top of the notch of the derailleur hanger. Just clear it, screw in, and before you tighten, let it rest down, because sometimes they get stuck in the up position. So right now I'm resting down, applying gentle pressure on that ledge, screw in. And then this bolt right here, it's probably like 7 to 10 Newton meters. It's not very tight, but you can kind of feel it's one of those bolts that just kind of, boom, hits a wall, and there's really can't go much tighter than that. So I definitely give it a nice firm tightness with your hand. When in doubt, break out a torque wrench. So now we have free floating. I can still hit the chainstay, but I can definitely roll back this way pretty good and exercise that way. So top notch is not touching anything. Bottom notch is touching the step or cliff of your derailleur hanger. So it's actually a pretty good looking rear derailleur. It's very rugged. I mean, just looks like your mountain stuff. All the same characteristics. Super, super big cage. Nice big size pulley wheels. So right now the clutch is off. So the clutch allows me to move this really easy, and it's mainly when your clutch is off, it's just easier to maneuver to get your wheel out and get your wheel back in. I can manipulate this guy real easy. Of course, there's no chain right now, but when you're riding, typically it should always be in the on position, which is up, click up. It's kind of a hard click, so keeps this derailleur cage from moving easily that way. Every time you hit a bump, the chain wants to drop. Every time it drops, it allows slack, which means your chain can come off a gear. Typically, it could come off the front chain ring. And then, so trying to move forward, it's much tougher. And of course, that tension can be adjusted with the Shimano right inside here. You'd open that up and turn a bolt. The SRAM, I don't believe, is adjustable. Maybe they changed it recently, but not that I'm aware of.